I am turning the big 3-0. I am leaving my 20s and entering my 30s, leaving behind my beautiful, fun youth and entering the time of wrinkles, and it's all downhill from here. That's what people say, but I'm absolutely determined to go into this decade positive and remembering that it is a privilege to grow old. I am actually quite excited about my 30s. I feel like mature is a strong word, but I do feel like, the prefrontal cortex, it is settling in. And inspired by the wonderful Lena Norms, who is a delightful human being, and if you like my content, you will love her content. She did a 40 life goals that she wanted to achieve during the decade of her 30s, and so I thought that was a really fantastic idea for coming into this decade with hope and motivation and remembering that it is not over when you turn 30. The first 5 on the list are kind of like my top 5. So these are the ones that if I don't do any other goals, as long as I achieve these 5, I think I will have had a very successful 30s. Number 1 on the list is to release an EP. My EP is super close to coming out. I had been hoping for it to come out on my birthday. That's looking like it's not quite going to happen. It is in smelling distance. It is in the next week or two. It absolute worst comes to worst, it's going to be January. It's going to be called Denial of the Dark, and it was really important for me to not just have a random selection of songs, but actually have a theme. So all of the songs are really exploring like the dark side of capitalism and the things that we maybe aren't always so aware of. So yeah, look out for that coming hopefully really, really soon. So number 2, to be honest, it could have been number 1 in terms of like priority for me, and that is adopt a rescue dog. I adore dogs my entire life. I grew up with dogs. I just desperately want that companionship in my life. I love to have that connection with an animal. I definitely want to make sure that I'm having a dog responsibly, have the funds to cope with any kind of emergency vet visits. I'm not interested in having children. A dog is that for me. So I'm just hoping at some point in my 40s I will have enough financial stability to be able to get a dog. Please, I beg. Number 3 is work in sustainability communications or for an environmental NGO. I feel like communications is my strong point. Storytelling, communicating and translating difficult ideas into more simple ideas. It's kind of what I'm doing with this channel, but I would love to do it in a more official capacity. I would love to do it within an organisation such as Greenpeace, Friends of the Earth. Number 4 is kind of a big, vague one. It's make a home / find stability. I think my 20s have been characterised by a lot of movement, like physical movement in terms of moving to Sweden, moving around different places in London, but also just not ever having a period where I really had something solid and stable for like a long period of time. I don't think there's ever been a point in my life where I've been like, yeah, I have a pretty good idea what's going to be happening this time next year in the kind of career aspect of my life, but potentially also accommodation, community, this kind of thing. Just finding a sense of home, finding a sense of stability. Number 5, make peace with getting older. As I sort of hinted at in the introduction, I have absorbed so much negativity around getting older, like this real fear of wrinkles, of being older, of thinking that my body's going to fall apart, and thinking that, if I haven't achieved certain things by a certain age, that it's all just like a waste of time, and that is just not helpful. I need to come to terms with the fact that it is inevitable and it can be a beautiful thing. I do have some wrinkles starting to settle in. They are how much I've smiled, so it's a good, that's a beautiful thing. It's a good thing. It's an honour, it's a privilege to grow old in this world where so many people don't get that chance. So that's the big top 5. Next we're kind of going into like the music and creativity genre. So number 6 is to release 2 albums. I think I'm really attracted to creating like a collection of musical works rather than just releasing singles. I really like the idea of being able to tell a story with an album. I've already got one album kind of planned out with a whole bunch of songs. I know what it would be called, but if there's anything I've learned from trying to get this EP done, it's that recording takes time, and recording an entire album takes time. I'm not expecting to ever become a full-time musician, and in fact I don't think I want to be. I definitely want it to just be part of the things I do. So with that in mind, that it's going to be like a part-time thing, I think 2 albums in 10 years is hopefully a reasonable goal. Number 7, learn to play the harp better. So yeah, I actually have a harp. She is beautiful. And I can play, but I'm just not very smooth. I can't play very smoothly. I can't play many songs. So I really want to like actually get good. Number 8, develop my vocal range to 4 octaves. I can currently sing 4 octaves. I can sing C to C. On either of those ends, I wouldn't say it's particularly usable. I mean, I think my low C is usable. My high C is like, I can hit the note. It's not necessarily that pleasant.
Actually, I don't know if the 4 octave range actually is the priority. I think with my voice, the thing that I really want to do is unleash my voice. I think there's a perfectionism and a classical training that kicks in when I'm singing that is actually holding me back from like a certain grit and maybe emotional feeling. I can't think of another word for it. Unleash my voice.
Number 9, learn to scat or diddle. So if you don't know, scatting is the jazz technique of singing like a trumpet, I guess is the best way to explain it. But I've always respected it so much. However, jazz isn't something I'm particularly interested in. So I'm also giving myself the option of learning how to diddle, which is one name for the folk technique that you see across English, Scottish, Nordic, very twiddly vocal lines, but without any words. You tend to go dee da lum da lum da dee da da dee da da dee da da. Again, I can't do it. Or I can sort of do it. I'm closer there, but I'd like to get much better and learn how to do that better. Number 10, produce some vocal looping songs. I've actually been obsessed with the idea of live looping, vocal looping, since I was about 13 when I discovered it. I love it as a technique. Like currently I am absolutely obsessed with the nunnery. It scratches the itch in the brain. It is exactly what I want out of music. But I don't currently have the technology really to do vocal looping. At some point in the next 10 years, I hope that I can invest in that technology, learn how to do it, and maybe even produce and release some songs in that style. So moving away from music, number 11 is publish a poetry book. If you have been here on this channel for a while, or if you've gone back and stalked my videos, you will know that poetry was a huge part of what I did. I think I have like around 120 poems that I think are usable. So I think I definitely have enough to publish at least one poetry book. I've got a title in mind already. Maybe once my EP's out, I can start to like bring poetry back into my life a bit more. Number 12 is to write, publish, split second as a short story. So, the year is 2018. I am cycling home from my job and I have an idea for a short story. Fast forward a couple of years, I still haven't written it, but now I've sort of developed the idea into an entire novel and I've got all these ideas and I plan it out a bit and then I get overwhelmed and I never write it. It's a sci-fi story, and the way that technology is going in the world currently, I think my idea is only getting more and more relevant as commentary on the world that we live in and how we relate to technology. So I really want to do it, but I think I've definitely got to scale it back from the novel idea because I think it's just never going to happen if I expect myself to write an entire novel. Right now, with the way my life is, it kind of feels hard to know when I'm going to ever have time for all of these projects, but I think that's what I really want to try and do in my 30s, is to work out how to carve out time for all of these goals and hobbies and interests that I have, because I unfortunately have 74,351 interests, and it's very hard to keep on top of them all. Number 13 is still on the topic of writing, but it's maybe a little bit more silly. Finish one of my big fan fictions. I had 2 really big fan fictions that I was working on. One for Good Omens, one for BBC Merlin. Yes, in the year of our Lord 2025, I am looking to write a Merlin fanfiction. It's less about it being a fanfiction for Merlin. I think that the story that I came up with and the things that it's exploring have a lot of potential. Number 14, make YouTube monetizable or build an equivalent. I have actually really enjoyed coming back here and making these videos again. Much like with music, I would love for it to be a part of what I do. I don't think I could ever manage to become a full-time YouTuber. If there is a little bit of financial remuneration, that is helpful to help me keep doing it. However, I am certainly not married to YouTube as a platform. Chatting my ideas out into the world, connecting with people, having conversations with people, that is what I'm really wanting to do. So if you want to help me reach that goal, subscribe, like, comment, all of that stuff. Number 15 is, I don't know how much I should really say and put out on the internet. Engage meaningfully in civil disobedience and non-violent direct action. I believe we're in a climate emergency. I think civil disobedience works, and I think it is justified. Exactly what kind of action I would be willing to take, I think I'm not going to put that out publicly. And number 16, from the sublime to the ridiculous, knit or crochet something. I would be willing to give it a go. However, given that I have 70,531 other interests, I don't think I can really commit to knitting becoming a hobby, but I would think it would be really cool to learn how to knit just well enough to make one thing, like maybe a scarf or a pair of socks or a hat. Number 17, get my mum to teach me how to sew. My mum is a sewing genius. She makes medieval and Tudor costumes or reenactment dresses. She's able to look at like a picture or something and just understand all of the different pieces and how to form it. She helped me make this shirt. It's very simple. It's just a simple tie shirt. And I think it's really important to use generational knowledge. Like, yeah, I could learn to sew from the internet, but I have my mum who's a brilliant seamstress, and it would be a wonderful way to spend more time with my mum as well. Number 18, be a regular and active part of a local green community. I think it's really important for there to be local grassroots initiatives like a local community garden, or there is a campaign around a particular meadow close to where I live, and it's really important to have that, like, to be regularly showing up and be someone that the community can rely on. Number 19, learn 20 plant remedies. I've been trying to learn a lot about herbal medicine. I love the process of going out and foraging for plants and drying them, and then I love playing doctor when someone gets ill and being like, oh, I've got a herb for that. I'd love to learn some more advanced things, and I do actually have this book gifted to me by a friend. Pretty much, I guess this goal is actually just read this book and learn from it. And I do want to actually study it and have those remedies in my head, have those plants in my cupboard ready to go. Number 20, build and maintain a herb spiral. Oh my god, so right, it's a whole thing. I have tried to build and maintain a herb spiral in my garden for like 3 years now. The 1 year I kind of succeeded and I had a bit of sage and mint and calendula growing. It's much harder than it looks to build a herb spiral, like the structural integrity of it, and having enough soil and having it at an angle that the plants can actually grow and the rain doesn't just like kill it. This is spite at this point. I want to make it work. So number 21 is read 3 major religious texts. I think it's so interesting how humans across the world have found these different stories, different characters, different imagery to describe often quite similar things and quite similar like values and ethical frameworks. Buddhist texts, Hindu texts. I think I'd really like to read the Quran, though I know that it's a very holy book in itself, so I'd want to really make sure that I'm doing that in the right way. Number 22, go on a meditation retreat. Yeah, I've been exploring meditation and breathwork quite consistently for the last few years, but I've never really done much in person with a guided teacher, and I certainly haven't done it for like a longer period of time, like several days or weeks. And I think it would be really a transformative experience. And on a very related note, number 23, go on an ayahuasca or European equivalent trip. Ayahuasca is essentially a herbal medicine, but it is, I believe, only native to South America. I've heard a lot about it and I'm really intrigued by it. However, not only are there a lot of issues in terms of a white European and, colonial tourism, like not only is there a lot of issues there, for me, I also feel that if I'm going to have a spiritual experience guided by the wisdom of plants, it doesn't make a lot of sense to me to take a plant that comes from a landscape that I don't know. And I feel for me, I want to have a really grounded spiritual experience. And I think the best way to do that, learn from the plant wisdom of the landscapes that I'm familiar with. And so right now, that is the Nordic, Swedish landscape. However, the legality of such things here are less accessible, shall we say. Number 24, learn how to manage my energy levels / emotional swings. I mean, actually, this should really be continue to learn. I do have a lot of difficulties with quite extreme emotional swings according to my menstrual period, massive energy changes. I think it's going to be a continual learning process. It's not necessarily something I'm ever going to be able to say, right, yes, and now it's sorted. But I think I want to make sure that I'm still committing to learning that about myself, so I am writing it down. Number 25, try a new form of movement. First one that comes up is pole dancing. Technically, I have done it before, but I really loved it and I only did it for a term, and I think it would be fantastic to learn to do something that is so much about strength. But I'd also love to do climbing. That was something I, dabbled with occasionally when I was younger, and I really enjoyed it. Number 26, this is actually pretty much the same, it's almost the same goal, but take ballet classes again. I love the movement of it. I love the strength that you have to have, the flexibility. I really, really miss it. I just can't afford the classes at the moment. So number 2017, no, it's 2017, what? Number 27 is volunteer on an organic farm for several months. I have volunteered that is hard, on an organic farm for several weeks. I just want to do it again, basically, and I'd love to like stay there for at least a season, I think, to like see the farm changing, see how those processes go. Number 28, visit Iceland, Japan, and New Zealand. Right, so this goal is like the least likely to happen. Iceland has been somewhere I want to go, partly to see the landscape and partly because there's such amazing music. Going to Iceland is feasible because I can go there by boat. However, I don't fly, so Japan and New Zealand are a little bit more difficult. Number 29, go on a proper hike. Austrian Alps, ? Yeah, I'm not actually much of a hiker. Even though I'm quite an outdoor person, I don't enjoy walking for very long distances. I'll get tired. And I always get such bad blisters. I love, love, love the Austrian Alps. I think they are so, so beautiful. In fact, it's where my profile picture was taken. Hiking between all the different cabins. Still taking it slow, still taking it at my pace, I think sounds delightful. Number 30, read all books by Becky Chambers. Becky Chambers is the author of the Wayfarer series. I think the best way to describe her is like domestic sci-fi. And I love her books so much. You know when you know you're going to love a book, so you kind of want to save it? But that's really stupid. I should read my favourite author. Number 31, go to a cosy hippie festival. I'm not a big music festival person, spending several days in a muddy field, living in a tent, surrounded by drunk and high people, and listening to music that is so loud it can damage your hearing permanently, doesn't actually really appeal at all. I have seen some like smaller scale festivals, but they're just like calmer. Like there's book readings and there's workshops and there's like community crocheting or whatever, something along those lines. That sounds amazing. Number 32, live alone for a good chunk of time. Throughout my 20s have been living in collectives, living with multiple people. There's many advantages, there's many beautiful things that come with living with other people. At the end of the day, I'm an introvert, not quite yet diagnosed autistic. I do find living with other people can be quite overwhelming, quite overstimulating, and I actually think I would kind of thrive living alone. Number 33, try dating properly or reach a place where romance doesn't scare me. I have issues with relationships, romantic relationships, sexual relationships. I haven't done a lot of dating, and I've got to this point where I've now become incredibly insecure and worried about dating, quite scared of it. And I think I need to unpack a lot of stuff within myself, and I want to reach a place where the idea of romantic connection and exploring romance with someone doesn't scare me quite so much. So I've had this idea of dating myself for a year, taking myself out on fun dates and then getting to know myself more and then committing, like basically self-love, but like in a kind of fun, silly way. I don't know, we'll see how that one goes. Number 34, fly less than 5 times. Now, ideally, this goal would actually be never fly again. However, as someone who's living in a country that is not their home country, I have to leave room for me potentially needing to fly home for emergencies. But I certainly am not going to be flying on any holidays. It takes a lot of commitment and effort to not fly sometimes, so I just want to sort of have it written down as a commitment. Number 35, live up north for a year. It's honestly one of my favourite places in the world. But I've never been there in the summer, and I would love to see a year turn in the north. Number 36, I'm actually really excited about this one. Support 10 creators meaningfully. I've been thinking a lot, especially with moving away from Spotify recently, about how I'm engaging with the artists that I love. And I'm saying creators because I'm including like musicians, writers, YouTubers even. Maybe like 1 or 2 a year, building up so that by the time I'm 40, I've got like 10 creators who I am just like giving them my all and buying their stuff. And I think I've kind of already started because I've already got Lady Masery, who I've seen them live and I've got some of their merch and I've bought some of their albums. Another one is Marley Wildthing. I haven't supported her financially yet. I'm honestly trying to support her with social media. Like I'm making sure to like comment on all of her posts, which maybe makes me a bit of a creep, but like I know from doing social media that it's really beneficial for her. It helps her with her engagement. I want to be able to support these 10 creators, but it doesn't necessarily have to be financially. It can also be just in terms of like social media engagement or other kinds of support that might turn up. And number 37 is a very similar vibe to this, is support 5 independent publishing bodies. I don't like being a slave to the algorithm, not as a creator myself, nor as someone who's taking on content. There are these groups of people, there are these companies that are dedicated to doing that for you, to curating a particular vibe of artists. Having a record label that I consistently listen to all of the artists they put out. Having a book publisher that I consistently buy the books from, even if I haven't heard of the author. Having a theatre company that I go to see all of their productions. I just think it could be such a great way to find new works and to be supporting artists that I'm very, very likely to want to support. Number 38 is a little bit more selfish. Get the jellyfish tattoo. I've had this idea for a jellyfish tattoo that would have like other motifs in it as well, and I really, really want to get it, and I think it would be so, so beautiful. But again, finances, I just haven't been able to afford it yet. Hopefully, at some point in my 40s, I will have the financial stability to be able to afford stuff. And yeah, jellyfish tattoo. Number 39, kind of the biggest goal of them all, actually, is be happy to reach 40. Look, I'm someone who struggled with my mental health a lot, and to actually get to 40 and to be like, I'm glad I'm still here, would be an achievement in itself. So number 40 is actually, I have left it blank, because I think that there is a good potential in the next 10 years that I'm going to change, that I'm going to want different things, that things are going to go in unexpected directions. I'm leaving purposefully blank to allow myself to have a goal when I check back at 35. So that is all of my goals, and this is me at 30, what I'm hoping for, what I'm dreaming of. Let myself have some big dreams. I haven't made a video like this where I'm talking a bit more about my personal stuff for a while. Let me know if you like it and if you'd like to maybe see some more. And also, you know, it is December, we are approaching January. I know that's a time that many people use to reflect and to set some resolutions. So if you have any big goals coming up for the next year, or maybe you're coming up to a particular decade or whatever it might be, let me know. I really, really love actually hearing other people's goals and hearing what matters to people. It gives me my own ideas for what I want to do. Please do leave a comment and let me know what you're aiming for. And thank you ever so much for watching.